So, one last thing before we get to the picks here. I want to talk about this because I think there is something deeper in not only this news, uh, but the broader narrative around this. So, this came out on August the 12th, yesterday, at the time of this recording, from Jordan Schultz, breaking Jets All Pro rusher Hassan Riddick, who is holding out, has informed the team he wants to be traded for multiple sources. Now, at first, I just thought, oh, okay, Hassan Reddick wants to be traded. And I'm going to be honest. I was just instinctively like, oh, yeah, he's on the Eagles, right? Like, he wants to be traded because he's holding out on his contract. Okay. Little did I know, or little did I remember, that Hassan Reddick already was traded. He was traded to the New York Jets in the offseason. Now, I am somewhat old enough to remember when Hassan Riddick was traded, and it was like, oh my gosh, why aren't the Lions going after this guy? Well, probably this reason. Now, I'm not rubbing it in. Hassan Riddick is a stud. When he's playing on the field, he's an animal. But now I understand probably what was the holdup. He wants this contract, and like, what is wrong with the New York Jets? Like, I know I'm a Lions fan. And historically, the Lions have been much worse than the Jets historically. I mean, the Jets at least have won a Super Bowl. You know, they have had like runs there, for very very short runs, but runs nonetheless, right? Where they are a fairly successful team. Shout out to the butt fumble. But now, like this iteration of the Jets team right here with Aaron Rodgers at the helm. It just seems like at every stage, something goes wrong for them. Like, I was feeling this way when they traded for Aaron Rodgers, where it was like, okay, Zach Wilson's clearly not working out. But at the time, Zach Wilson was still relatively young. You could see potential in his development, but they were like, nope, we don't want to waste time. Let's go trade for Aaron Rodgers. We'll give Green Bay the farm. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, are the Jets a Super Bowl team? Oh my God. Seriously, you want to go back? You want to have fun. Go back like preseason last year. Preseason last year. Go look at the people, go look at some of the power rankings. Go look at some of the people taught. I remember vividly multiple times people like, are the Jets a Super Bowl team? Are they a Super Bowl team? Which is absolutely hysterical given how the season actually ended up going. Now, granted, that was under the assumption that Aaron Rodgers is going to be playing all those snaps for 17 games he was going to be playing. He played one, and that'd be very liberal of me to say he played one because he played like 4 more snaps than me. But on top of that, now you go into this year, Aaron Rodgers coming back from the injury, but then Aaron Rodgers is missing practice for an undisclosed reason, and apparently it was for him to go on vacation to Egypt. Kind of weird. I mean, Egypt, not that it's weird to go to vacation on Egypt. It makes sense. But, like, kind of weird that's like if he's into football, right? Like, if he's like, I'm ready. I want to come in. I want to compete. That he's like, no, I don't want to report. I'll go on vacation. What? That seems a little strange. And I top that with the fact that Aaron Rodgers it's been 3 years since Aaron Rodgers has ever had a season even remotely all that good. I mean, like, this is what I think it blows my mind a little bit. The last season we saw of Aaron Rodgers, he was kind of mid, right? Like the last game that he played fully healthy was him losing to the Lions and getting booted out of the playoffs, right? Like, or not booted out of the playoffs, but booted from making the playoffs. So that was the last time we saw Rodgers, and that was with a proven head coach in Matt LaFleur, a myriad of you had Christian Watson, you still had oh my gosh, I'm blanking out. They had weapons. Their defense wasn't all that good, but they had weapons. They had players that they could take advantage of. And now you enter into the Jets where you have Robert Saleh, who I think theoretically is a good coach. But the problem is, since he's gotten there, their offense has sucked the entire time. They've never had a good offense, and it's not without talent, right? Like, They've had Brees Hall, they've had Garrett Wilson. Now they bring in Aaron Rodgers, but he gets hurt, and then you bring in not Amari Cooper, Alan Lazard, but he sucks. Like they bring in all these guys, and then this is just the icing on the cake. This is all just setting up for Hassan Reddick. They bring him in, and seemingly he never really wanted to be there because he's immediately like, "Why aren't you signing me? I don't want to practice. That's it. I want to be traded." Did anybody in this organization have any over when they traded for Hassan Reddick? Did they have some verbal agreement like we're not going to pay you? Because now it's just he said she said. Because Hassan Reddick is obviously like, well, I was only going to play her. They said they were going to pay me, or I want my contract. That was the only reason I was willing to come to New York. Or if you really want to win, just pay me. That was the deal. But then the Jets GM is like, well, we traded for you with the idea that we weren't going to, give you a new contract. So we don't have to give you a new contract, which makes sense. You don't have to. But you said you were going to play, and you're not going to be traded. So your request for a trade is not going to be honored. And all of this is to say, this is completely disorganized. This sort of thing doesn't happen to the Chiefs. Right now, it doesn't happen to the Lions. It doesn't happen to I guess it sort of has happened with Brandon Ayuk at the 49ers, but largely it does not happen with the 49ers. It doesn't really happen with Baltimore. I'm trying to think of some other. It doesn't. I mean, it sort of happened a little bit with Buffalo, but not really. Like teams that are perennially competitive, right? Teams that have been sort of run well. And I know the Lions have only made the playoffs this past year and went to the NFC Championship. All that, I understand. But teams that have organizations that are seemingly well run don't have this kind of stuff. And look, I don't think Hassan Reddick is going anywhere. I really don't. I think it's sooner that Hassan Reddick just doesn't play all year because the Jets were too stupid to figure out what his contract situation was and whether or not he wanted to even play without that contract before, trading for him. And so now they're stuck between a rock and a hard place where it's like, well, we want him to be on the team, but we don't want to pay him. But we also don't want to trade him because then he wins, and then we trade it for this guy just to trade him. I've watched football for a decent amount of time, and I've gotten into historical football and learning some of the stories of all the years maybe I wasn't paying as much attention. I've never heard of a player gets traded from X to Y, and then at Y requests a trade before even playing a game. It'd be one thing if after 3-4 games there was some falling out, Hassan Reddick and Robert Saleh were yelling at each other in a press conference, and then he requests a trade. That's not what happened. This is some miscommunication, and to me, that is indicative of the kind of culture that has been building in this Jets organization, which is not exactly a very healthy one. So I don't think the Jets are going to be good. I don't think this was ever going to work. Basically, this was never really a good idea, and now they're stuck with it. So sucks for the Jets, sucks for the Jets fans. But hey, you won a Super Bowl. I don't want to hear it. I don't care how long ago it was. You still won it. I don't have anything. All right. Hi, it's me again. If you enjoyed what you just saw, hit the like and subscribe button. We do live shows every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you there.